All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Voices from the Field, unlocking the expertise of security installers and technicians. Today's session is going to really spotlight the perspective of the installer and technician. And we don't often get to hear that side of the story. And that's unfortunate because these guys are out in the field every day. They're problem solving across markets in healthcare, education, multifamily, banking. And they know what works, and more importantly, they know what doesn't work. And they're here to share kind of their experience today. So before we go ahead and get started, I was going to do a few introductions just to set the stage a little bit, give a little context and background. My name is Nikki Williams, and I am the North American Regional Marketing Manager at ICT. And for those of you who don't know ICT, Integrated Control Technology, we are a unified access control, intrusion, and building automation platform. Very open integrations, over 50 technical integrations, and we design to the needs of our security integrators, our partners. Our main focus is helping them secure their success. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my team over here for a few introductions as well. I want to touch on their companies, what they do, and what their roles are, so you kind of know where they're coming from. So, James, I will start with you first. Can you tell us a little bit about your company and your role?
Sure. I am James Prado. I work for Firetrol Protection Systems out of Corpus Christi, Texas, South Texas region. Firetrol is a full life safety company, founded in 1984, so it's been around for a little bit. We do everything from fire alarm, security alarm, access control, sprinklers, extinguisher, kitchen hood inspections, service, installations, full 9 yards of everything, life safety. I am a technician for the service side, and I do it all. I do the access control, security, and fire alarm work.
Great. What's your favorite part about being in the security industry?
I like the reward of knowing that you're helping to secure businesses or protect schools, protect the children, protect hospitals, keep people safe, provide the technology, provide the solutions to keep everyone there, business, the customers and the patrons, everybody safe.
Well, I love that. It feeds into a bigger picture, right?
Absolutely.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, too many tragedies nowadays, right? And we can do our part to help prevent that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Cade, you're up next. Tell me a little bit about your company and your role.
I'm Cade Wheeler. I'm with Guardian Security out of Lubbock. We also have a sister office in Oklahoma City. We do work in about 180 different counties across Texas, and there's 254 counties. But lots of access control, surveillance, intrusion, but we do bullet-resistant glass and things like that. But really anything that our customers request that's security-related, we'll take care of it for them. But Guardian's been in business since 1991, and it's a family business. But we have about 20 employees, and we're a real tight-knit group.
That's nice. I like that. Are there any kind of interesting trends you're seeing right now in our industry overall?
Well, everybody likes AI, but then I've seen some people, and we'll see it tomorrow whenever we're walking through the show, but they'll just have normal motion detection and considering it AI. But we've actually teamed up with some other companies, and I've tested a lot of weapons detection. And the way we can make it integrate through APIs to our access control and surveillance and other peripherals, that part's really fun.
Yeah, it is very interesting, quickly changing and growing. All right, Mike, tell me a little bit about your company and yourself.
My name is Mike Metzger. I've been with Hamilton Safe now since early 2000s. Prior to that was Moser Lock and Safe Company. I've been in the industry for 30 plus years. I do all of our system integration design as well as the final implementation and programming. We're a niche market. By that, we're strictly pretty much financial. We walk in, everything from the drive-throughs to the vault doors, the night drops, clear through all the alarm, access, CCTV, all network level.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, huh?
Yes.
So what got you interested in joining the security industry? How did you end up here?
I just fell into it, believe it or not.
That's usually the story, right? So many. Oh, that's funny. All right, well, thank you guys. Thanks for giving us just a little bit of context and background of where you come from. And with that, I thought we'd just kind of jump right into a few questions and just a few housekeeping items, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and answer a few questions in a discussion format, but I do plan on opening it up to the audience to ask questions as well. So keep that back of mind. If you do have a question, I'll invite you to kind of join the conversation here soon. All right, so let's start with talking about the reality of the field, right? We're not always out there day to day in the field getting these installations done. You guys are frankly that crux between a design and an actual execution. So I guess let's start, James, with you. What do you wish that folks in, say, like more of a corporate setting, sitting at a meeting table, knew about what you do day to day?
So there's a lot that goes into starting your work. So, like for example, in the healthcare world, there's so many different departments that need to be satisfied, from infection control to your engineering to the security department. So you have to appease every piece of the pie in order to have a successful installation. So some of those require a lot of verticals in making all sides happy, so sometimes you may have to work after hours, do your installations at night in containment units. Definitely also be mindful of the fire protection side of things for your fire barriers, your firewalls, and things like that. So there's a lot of that sometimes isn't really thought about in the beginning. Sure. And that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And are there any specific challenges, just because you bring up hospitals, are there any specific challenges or patterns and pain points you see when it comes to an installation in, say, a hospital?
Definitely the moving parts of trying to work around a working hospital. That's what the biggest challenge is keeping their operations flowing, right, and not getting in the way of their business, while you're trying to do your installation. So planning, right? Planning definitely helps.
Yeah, I know. I remember us talking about communicate, and then communicate some more, right?
For sure, definitely.
And Cade, when we were talking earlier, when we were doing the webinar series, just speaking about trying to foresee some of those challenges before they happen, and that kind of the pre-work before leading up. What are kind of solutions and systems you lean towards choosing to prevent, say, these challenges?
So a lot of the times, a good site visit is key, and then lots of pictures, and then of course if you can train your salespeople or whoever's going to go do the site visit, if you can train them and if they actually know how to work on it and how it's installed, then of course they know what parts they're going to quote for that job. But having a good scope of work and having everything itemized on where it's going, how it's going to work, because there's some jobs that we have that we're 6 months out until we can actually start working. And so you need a full game plan, and then if it doesn't work out, then you have to just make it happen,
Plan B.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to pop a ceiling tile. Popping that ceiling tile now can save yourself 30, 45, 2 hours later, because if you didn't pop it now, then all of a sudden you're going to be, oops.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
Well, Mike, tell us a story. Tell us an installation story that either you wish you had popped that ceiling tile or you did and it's.
Oh, there's been several, but recently, in the last couple of years, we had a bank that is a National Historic Landmark. And it's really neat. If you haven't seen the banks where they used to have the big old coal furnaces down below, well, how the heat transferred up was literally through huge columns in 4 separate sections of the building. There was no way to get wire up through the marble floors, through the walls, and because of being a historic landmark, you're limited on what you could do. Sure. Well, to run their network wiring, they actually ended up running it up inside that heat duct, and then we had to follow that to bring it up and literally go across all the wooden 100-plus-year-old finishes to get everything up and around. And the stuff like that is interesting because you're able to do it, but yet some companies would just wire mold or do something. But a lot of that takes a lot of inspection and a lot of time to figure out how you're going to do it.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there anything specific to banking that kind of is a regular pain point you've seen on installations? I mean, historical buildings.
Historical buildings, sometimes I know we're going to be mounting a camera in a vault that was built before indoor electric. So, limited to get in, but it's very feasible and possible to do. In fact, my customer is actually out here right now. But there was always challenges. Sometimes depends on how the initial equipment was installed. If there was an addition onto the building. Sometimes you get additions onto buildings and those are a feat in themselves. Okay. So crushed conduit, can't get wire crossed. Yeah.
Just keeps things interesting though, right?
Very interesting.
Don't want to get bored. I like it. So this next question is for all 3 of you, so feel free to jump in. But what do you wish security manufacturers knew about being out in the field when we're creating systems and solutions? What do you wish manufacturers knew?
Support. I like manufacturers that really support your installation. Provide as much of the technical documents to it, to the product that you're installing. That's key, right? And then having the available technical support when you run into something that you haven't seen. And of course, as a technician, definitely feel free to reach out to the manufacturer like, hey, I haven't seen this before, help me out with it. There's a lot of times people kind of just hit a wall and won't try and use their resources, but I know that's something ICT does really well, all the notes that are posted up on all the installations that you'll ever run into. And then, of course, something they do well is also when you need something done, the research and development department, like, hey, we want to see this feature added. I wish a lot of manufacturers would kind of have that thing, that part of it, where, hey, send us what you want. We'll add that to our portfolio, or we'll at least research it and see how it's viable and see if there's other people that could use it, and integrate that into their offering.
So I guess how important is the ability to customize or shift gears and problem solve is kind of a question as well, and how much that may help. Is there anything that you haven't seen yet from a manufacturer that would just solve a pain point for you, a problem that you have every day, or you're out in the field, this one thing happens all the time and nobody has invented the solution for it yet?
There's a lot of solutions out there, and unfortunately, you got to come to a place like this, really, unless you want to order a bunch of equipment in and sit it on a shelf because it doesn't work out. If you have a manufacturer or distributor that knows their product and you call them up, hey, Cade, can this do this? I don't know. Let's go to the next manufacturer or distributor because I want somebody who's going to be able to tell me. I don't want to waste my time, but I also want to go ahead and find a solution. Your best thing to do as you start coming up with new problems is creating yourself a list. Solution A, solution B, solution C. Come up with 3 different solutions for your non-general everyday problems. so that when you have a situation,
Oh, you have your go-to.
I know Cade's got this, I know James has got this, I know Nikki's got this. And so you've got your solution patterns there. Don't try to spread yourself too thin with all these different products. Try to keep a baseline, because I think from an integration side and a design side, it's going to make your life a lot easier. But as my favorite saying is, you can't cookie cutter everything.
Yeah.
That's why you got to have the variety of solutions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So.
Well, we've talked about healthcare. We have talked about banking. Cade, do you think you could share a story, an installation story about education or being out in the field?
Yeah, we do a lot of schools. Of course, then you're always working around students and around bell schedules and things like that. So a lot of the times, of course, you'd have to work late nights. But the schools isn't really where we run into most of our issues. But like Mike was saying, anything historical, like the historical courthouses we work on, where they have a 100-year-old door that they want it to look 100 years old, but they want it geared up with access control. There's a lot of time and skill that goes into it. You can't just drill holes and ruin their 100-year-old door, because you're never going to be able to find that door or the stain. And then other times where we have to pull trim and then color match paint that's old, and then by the time you're done with it, you painted their whole courtroom. There's always something, but it's just, you got to think outside of the box whenever those instances happen.
You want to find the best solution, not the this will work solution. You want to find the best solution. I mean, that comes down to especially with access control. There's so many products out there. If you guys are using one strike for everything, you need to spend some time with the manufacturers here of their products and get to know them. They've got a lot of solutions for a lot of variety of products, door, hardware, you name it, that is going to give you a better solution, a cleaner install. You know, when I walk up and I see a door strike cut into an aluminum door frame on an exterior where I can just take a simple screwdriver, because you've compromised the integrity of the support of that aluminum frame, I can now pop that door open with nothing but a screwdriver. You haven't done your customer justice with doing a proper install for security.
Well, that leads me to another question. You know, do you feel that it's hard to balance kind of that compromise between speed, quality, and kind of the long-term maintenance plan? Is that something you guys consider when you go in? So what is the long-term support going to look like?
Long-term support, yes. With what a lot of products we use, the companies have been in existence for some time. I have a very reliable supplier, and sometimes if I say, how about this option, they're like, you don't want it. They're up front, they'll sell it, but they're like, you don't want it. Okay, what do you got? So I trust them to steer me in the right direction if I got an oddball situation. And they've stood behind their product, and I get it in sometimes. One time I had it in, and they said it's going to be this much, okay. And then I sent pictures. I said, you sent the wrong thing. And they ate the cost about another $1,000 to send me the proper equipment because they spec'd it out. So you got a supplier like that who's willing to stand behind their decision, it makes a big difference for you in the field.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, let's talk about the ecosystem overall in the security industry. You know, the security integrators, the installers, technicians, the manufacturers. Overall, how could we all kind of collaborate better in security? Do you see any gaps between communication or practices?
I feel like training, right? A lot of training. You know, manufacturers provide training for their products and then roll it out. Having the right tool for the job also, you know, it goes hand in hand, right? Because when you're trained right on properly installing a product, then you are the right tool and you know the right tools to accomplish that task at hand.
Sure, that makes sense. Cade, is there any way that between installers and security integrators, manufacturers, do you ever see a disconnect in communication or anything that you identify as a gap that we could all do better?
From the manufacturer to the installer, just having tried and true products and standing by your word, which most of our manufacturers that we use do that. But then, like on a job site, having, like I already pointed this out, but to have a great plan and everybody's on board with it. And you have your maps, you know where everything's going, and then your customer knows where everything's going too. But just communication.
Yeah, again, back to the
Yeah.
communication. Do you feel that usually flows pretty smoothly, or is that something that's a little uphill?
For the most part, we make it a priority for everything from our design to the install to the training to the customer. We make that a priority, that all that's going to be seamless. From time to time, you might get a bad batch of strikes or mod kits or whatever you're installing. But we try to control what we can control, and then we try to streamline it as much as possible.
Well, do any of you guys have an interesting challenge in an installation of the what not to do stories, or anything interesting like that you can share?
Oh, I have a really good one.
Okay.
So I was training a guy one time, and I wasn't being cocky or anything, but like I was telling him, like, you measure twice before you come in the storefront, and this is where your bit needs to go. And I'm like, I'll do this first one. And the bit slipped, and I just shattered the whole storefront. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, and then so it's Guardian Construction.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I was like, that's what you don't do. But yeah, those are always humbling moments. But you can always learn, no matter how long you're doing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Mike and I were talking earlier about the learning mentality, and what do you think, Mike? Share.
Well, real quick, I got a question for everybody out here. Who out here has been in this industry for 30 plus years? Remember the old key switch alarms? Remember how there wasn't options? You tied down on a 24-hour zone, you tied down day zone, night zone. That was it, right? We didn't like those back then, did we? But God, they were easy back then, now that we look at it. Things were so simple back then now. But, you know, it's great to see the industry has changed the way it has. Who started out, who here has replaced vacuum tubes in the old first analog cameras? Okay. We've seen a lot change since the day of those, the days of the multiplex switches with the VCR, to the first generation of DVRs, to what we have today. If you are in this industry and don't want to learn, you're in the wrong industry. I'm going to tell you right now. If you're willing to learn, this is the industry for you. If you enjoy learning, it's the industry for you. I've got another niche. Adam over there is also a member of the Safe and Vault Technicians Association. So not only are we doing it from this side, but we're also in the safe and vault world, and out there drilling vault doors and everything else open, and modifying doors and such to work with newer technology. It's an ever-changing world, whether it be the safe and vault world, the electronic security world. It's something, if you got a passion, you're in the right place. And it's a great place to be in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely invest in yourself, right? Do read about the changes in technology, right? Because one of y'all said it before. If you don't grow with the industry will outgrow you.
if you're not growing, you're dying. And then to be coachable too, like anybody new that we hire, like that's one of the biggest things that I look for is how coachable they are. And if they can be like a student and get off their phone and try to learn every little bit that they can, the majority of the time they succeed.
Nothing's worse when you're trying to say, hey, can you feed that? What? Can you get off your phone, please? Can you push that wire up? Yeah, we need to get this across here.
Well, how do you think your role has changed over the years? You know, has the role of a technician, installation professional changed over the years, and how so?
The equipment definitely has, but I mean, whenever it comes down to it, you're still pulling wire, you're still mounting devices, the devices change, but technology is really what changes, and you just got to stay on top of it and learn as you go.
Where do you see basically the biggest opportunity for technicians to influence the security industry as a whole?
I feel like learning, right? That's the biggest opportunity for us. Learn as much as you can, because the more you know, the more stronger you are, the more things you can offer, the more solutions you can offer, you know. So just keep learning, never stop. Read them cut sheets from the manufacturers, you know, read the installation guides. It's all there for a reason.
If you ever think you know it all, leave the industry, please. I'm serious. It's ever changing. The few guys that have been doing this as long as I have, we have seen this industry change drastically in 30 years. Drastically. And it's going to keep changing. And if you're not willing to keep up with the change, it's going to be a bad time for you.
And I would take advantage too. A lot of the manufacturers, they'll have online courses that you can take for free. And a lot of new technicians, like, you don't have time all the time to just sit there and teach them how to wire a panel every day, and or how to start programming. But on their own time, I know that I've done it, and I'm sure that y'all have too. But on my own time at night, before I go to bed, if I need to learn about something, I'll see if they have online courses and get as many certificates and as you can, just to broaden your horizon a little bit.
That makes sense. And would you say that that'd be kind of one of your key recommendations for somebody entering this industry as a new technician? What would your recommendations be for somebody new, just starting out, doing what you do?
I'd say they really need to pay attention to the more senior techs. You know, learn from them, because we've all been there, right? I'm not 30 years in the industry, right? I'm barely coming up on 14-ish years or so, but I've seen some changes. I've worked with the analog cameras. You know, I'm not as far back as Mike over here, but, you know, definitely.
Did you just call me a dinosaur?
No.
Yeah, you
I said not
As
as
soon as you said
experienced.
vacuum tubes, you just
Yeah.
you labeled yourself right there.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, pay attention to those guys. You know, I had a great mentor back there. You know, he brought me into this industry. You know, he picked me out from, he was providing a service to a customer, and I'd be working at the site for the actual customer at night, and I'd be kind of bored, and I would fix things that were broken, and then he'd come in to try and work on the stuff that was already working, and he said, hey, I can't find a problem. And they figured out that it was me fixing things, and I got in turn offered a job and got into this industry, you know, with his help back there.
How important is mentorship? Is this how you two learned as well? You had mentors along the way?
Yes, definitely. And then don't be afraid to ask questions, because you got to figure it out. But then you need to learn the basics. I'm not pointing y'all out, but I'm just saying in general. But like, guys will come in and they're like, yeah, I know all this stuff, and it's like, you know how to work a meter? Like, you know how to do continuity tests? And they're like, what? And you're like, okay.
What are ohms?
Yeah. Like, we got a ways to work, buddy.
Is it that horseshoe looking thingy?
Yeah.
It beeps.
Yeah. The best, just to go off what Cade said, the best thing is you're going to have people who are going to show up day to day, and they want you to spoon feed everything. You're going to have people that are going to show up, they're going to go home like Cade, like myself, like James. Hey, I wonder what's new today in technology. Oh, I got this new product. Let's read up on it. No one says we have to do it on our own time, but we're investing in our own self and further our own self to make ourselves more marketable in the industry. We're not sitting there expecting to be paid for everything, but that's the way we are, and not everybody's that way. But if you have somebody that's willing to do a little studying and a little learning on their own, it's going to be a great time for them.
Yeah, you'll definitely get that ROI, the return on investment, right? You invest in yourself, there will be a return.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, before I open it up for questions, I just had one last question that I was hoping you three could each answer. And I just wanted to know how each of you chooses to define a successful installation. Like, keep it simple, just a few words, but what kind of bubbles up? Don't overthink it. I'll start, because I've been picking on you, James. I'll start down with Mike, and we'll go this direct.
Customer that's happy with the outcome is the number one goal right there. And number two, when you say, oh, and we can do this. Well, how much? Oh, it's just a programming step.
So kind of surprise them with more.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
When they set the level here, and you install a product that can actually go up here, and you can make that option, and if them and the powers to be above it decide, yes, it's a simple programming step, now you've, without even upselling, you've upsold.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, Cade, what do you think? What is a successful installation? What does that mean to you?
Whenever the customer's satisfied and whenever they cut the check. That's I'm happy with that.
I like that. That's great. Okay, James, any more insights on this front?
I think they both took it, right? Customer satisfied with it. Business is happy, right? Your superiors are happy with the amount of time that was allotted. The project didn't go over. You know, you returned with hours left on the table. You know, that probably is a full spectrum of it, right? Ultimately, customer satisfaction is number one, right? But if you can also turn in a good dime to the company, that's even better as well, you know, because that's how we all, you know.
Yeah, I like it. Gosh, I
all
want to
make
work
the
with
world
you
go.
guys, you know, getting the job done before the timeline and over-delivering. Nice. Perfect. All right, guys. Well, I do want to take some time at the end here to open it up for questions. I'm thinking that microphone is live over here and working. I don't know if anybody has any questions. You can even shout them out if that's easier. Go ahead.
I've got two. First one is, I've heard a lot of product installation that you're doing that isn't quote unquote traditional, like bulletproof glass and inspections of fire extinguishers. Are you using the same technicians? Are you utilizing subs? How did you do that cross-training?
So on the bullet resistant glass, me and a couple other people went down to the manufacturer's site and got trained up on it. And then, but you can't, on things like that, it's like knowing your player, knowing your technician. Like some of them aren't going to be able to handle things like that, or they can't be running heavy machinery. They're just better wire pullers. But you have different core groups of guys. Like we have guys that they have more of a construction background, and so that's perfect. Whenever we have to wreck a wall out and repaint things, like it's just knowing your team and who's best at what. But definitely different groups of guys.
And we got a group of installers, pretty much, we just call them our heavies, and that's installing man-trap systems with the full bolt resistant deal drawer windows, the drive-through windows that are all BR rated. Those guys pretty much specialize in nothing but that heavy stuff on big job sites.
We do sub out some of our stuff. We try to do it all, but even if we can do it, a lot of times it's not worth it to go try to set your own 55-foot pole in the ground and rent all the equipment and have to reteach yourself on how to drive a skid steer. Like a lot of that's better just subbing it back out, for us anyways. But especially whenever you don't do it all that often.
Yeah.
And then my second is, we offer and give our techs bonuses for bringing projects in under hours with no issues. Do you all find that as the norm in your industries?
That's what we do.
Definitely. That's a good incentive, right, for them to be very productive and wise with their time management, right? Because if, you know, they can turn it in way in the green, then they can make green. Extra green.
Thank you.
That's great. All right. Any more questions, guys? Go ahead.
So, just before the
Oh,
panel,
sorry.
a couple of questions. Do you ever use Game Changer cable, and what has been your past experience with it?
I've used it before, and it's a lot harder to pull. We had golly, it was close to, it was like 800 foot or 1,000 foot at a trucking facility. But it does work. But honestly, if you're reaching out that far, I prefer just to do fiber and then have converters or switches, however you're going to convert it at each end. But we've had good luck with Game Changer, though.
Thank you. Sir.
And then go ahead.
So how do you deal with like a lot of customers or clients that where you're almost about to wrap up on the project where they want to add on like another like 5 cameras or another door to be add to an access controller?
We run across that a lot in new construction, and we just finished up on one at a big school, and we're doing their networking, their access, their surveillance, everything they got, we're doing it. And then it's just like what you said. They're like, oh, but we want these 3 doors, and we need an extra 1,500 foot of fiber. And it's like to a point, like we'll change order small things as we go, but then at a point, like you got to complete the job. And then I'll tell them like, hey guys, we love you, but we got to wrap this up, and I'll get you new quotes for that. But we need to break up for a little bit, you know.
A lot of times, depending upon the yeah, exactly. A lot of times, depending upon the size of the job, we may just, as he says, wrap up this job. All right, yep. We'll get your 5 cameras in. We'll get your door in. I'm going to have to order this stuff in. Let's wrap this up, get this done. We'll get it ordered in. We'll get back right away and get it done.
You know, sometimes you will have to think about, though, like if it's a construction site, like, am I going to be able to get wire to this location? So there may need to be some, you know, forward thinking for a situation like that, and it does happen, of course.
Is it very common that these last requests come in?
Oh, yeah.
You started laughing when he asked it, so I was like, every project.
And things are ever changing. Sometimes it may not be the customer that's changed it, it's another contractor. So this was spec'd, and all of a sudden the contractor puts this in. He's got a smile on his face, he's seen that before. And you have to learn to adapt. Unfortunately, if that contractor put this in, that's already in. Now we're going to have to adapt and adjust to make things work. And you've got to be able and willing to do that. You know, you call your supplier, hey, Cade, yeah, I kind of got screwed here. What do you got for this? You know, let's get it ordered in. Let's get it done. You know, but if you're willing to adapt and overcome, that's huge. You've seen that before a few times, haven't you? Yeah, I could tell by that smirk on your face. He sounds like me.
I love it. All right. Any more questions? Oh, wait, go ahead.
So, as you guys mentioned before, this industry is ever changing, ever evolving. And from the customer side, for better or for worse, a lot of times we trust our vendor or our installers to keep up with the latest technology to offer us the best solution. Is there a resource or multiple resources that you guys turn to always be kind of up to date with these technologies?
Oh, that's a great question.
A lot of reading, a lot of following the trends in the industry, different industry-related magazines, articles, so on like that, trying to stay up. Coming here.
ISC West.
ISC West is huge because, you know, I've always said if it's a product worth looking at, they're going to have it set up and you can actually play with it. If it's a camera worth looking at, they're going to let you get into programming. Same with DVR, same with an alarm system. They're going to have working, functional door hardware. So it's saved a lot of money over the years versus, I say, you order something in, it doesn't work, it sits on a shelf. 10, 15 years, you're going to start pitching it in the dumpster. How many's done that? How many's thrown away $10,000, $15,000 worth of product? Yeah, because you ordered it in and it didn't work. So, and if you say you haven't, you're probably not telling me the truth.
Another good thing is knowledgeable reps. That's one of the things I like about ICT and dealing with Travis. I can call him on the road, shoot him a text, and be like, "Hey, what about this? Or you think we could do this with that?" And he'll tell me, or he'll tell me he'll get an answer. Yeah, but he'll answer. He'll pick up. But
one thing I like to pay attention to is also the emails that I get from manufacturers when they come out with a new product. You know, I'll look at it and read it, digest it, and then think about the customers that I support and where can I send this solution to, you know? Does somebody have a problem that this solves? So I do pay attention to those manufacturer blast emails, like, oh, let's see what they're offering now. But of course, ISC West is number one. Come over here, touch it, feel it, you know, look at it.
Another thing too, though, is some of the newest products that we've ever got a hold of, it wasn't because they reached out to us, it was because the customer said, I need this to happen. Do you think you can make that happen? Yeah, I can do that, but give me a minute. Like, I'm not gonna turn you down, like, I'll figure it out. Like, and they dig that. And those are the type of customers you want. I mean, they're sharpening you as you go, and then you're providing them what they want.
I like that. A lot of different resources. And then I think I had one over here. Yeah, go ahead.
As technicians that have been with companies for a long time, like you guys have, do you have suggestions on valuable employee retention strategies? Or what would you like to be offered by your company to keep you around?
I like that. That's a good question.
It's a very interesting, very interesting.
We all want to make top dollar, right?
Yeah.
You know, we all want to be paid, but you've got to kind of also weigh out your options, right? Like one of the terms that's always thrown around, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Definitely shop, you know, if that's, you know, what you want to do. Look at the full picture, you know, benefits that the company offers, health insurance, retirement. There's a lot of, you know, smaller companies that may not offer that. Larger companies do, but then you get too large, then you have, you know, huge corporate umbrellas over companies. So there's happy medians right there in the middle. But, you know, the more you learn, the more you earn is probably a good way to think about it. So just keep learning and you'll keep growing.
Do you guys look for employers who invest in further training or continuing education for you?
Yeah, that's definitely
I'm not really out looking on the market, so.
I'm kind of locked down too.
Yeah, after all my years, I'm kind of vested pretty well. And that's a very good question. It's also tough. I work for a small family-owned company, so things are a lot different with only about 50 employees than a company you would have 200, 300, 400 employees. I think, I don't, how big's your company, Cade?
21, I think.
So we're both, how about you, James?
my particular office is like 40-something employees.
So that's your
700
office, company overall?
I think it's close to 700 or 800 that are under
So-
Firetrol. Under our top company, I think it's like 9,300 employees worldwide, I think, more or less.
You know, when I was with Moser Lock and Safe Company, we had different bonus structures and everything else, but of course, our CEO bankrupted us, so we lost everything, and it was all stock-based retirement, so we really lost everything. But I kind of like working for a family-owned company, smaller company. That's personal preference after coming from where I went and came from. So that's a tough question for, I think, Cade and I to answer, but James might be able to give you a little more insight, or some of his bosses here might be able to give you some insight into that too.
I know from a small business perspective, in the past, and this is going to kind of sound crappy, but like I've had people before where they didn't want a raise, like they wanted a title. And then just being able to speak to them, be like, what do you want, dude? Like have a relationship with them. And maybe they want somebody to answer to them or like give them a title. And that's really what they want. But just if they're low on money, like figure out something on how they can work late or do better work for you, make you more money so you can pay them.
Well, it goes back to there's no like one size fits all
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that regard either, just to understand.
And
truly
plus
what
making
motivates.
yourself marketable by doing a little self-studying or self-research. You know, I don't know Cade and James that well, but I got a good feeling that they're like me and we sit and read at nighttime and geek out on our profession.
Definitely.
Geek out, I like it. All right, go ahead.
Follow-up to that, you're all in small companies, so I imagine culture is probably important to you.
Hmm.
Say that again?
Culture.
Culture, the work culture, the company culture.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
What kind of service vehicles do you guys drive in? If you're not driving one you like, what would you want?
What kind of service vehicles do we?
Yeah, what are you driving now versus what do you want?
Oh,
So I know, I'll speak for us right now. Depending upon, we cover 6 states, so a lot of our people are all remote. Depending upon the area they're in, some of our guys drive 4-wheel drive pickup trucks with caps because of getting around in the wintertime especially up in Michigan and northern Ohio. We also have guys in service trucks depending upon the size and the spectrum that they cover of what we do. If we have somebody that will cover the whole spectrum, from safes and vaults to drive-throughs to alarm access, they're going to tend to be in a bigger vehicle than somebody who's more narrow-focused. So I know there's been talk lately of possibly going to a couple Maverick pickup trucks for some guys that are more in the city. They're not going to have to carry as much inventory in stock because they're not going to have to drive as far.
Yeah, so having the right truck for the job, right? That really follows up on it. If you're an inspector, maybe you'll be in a smaller vehicle, right? But a service guy with a cap, you know, definitely you got to have kind of everything that you need or a lot of what you need in your vehicle.
What are you guys running right now?
All-wheel drive T250s.
Is that the van?
Pretty much all the way across the board except for some of our more computer-based technicians are driving the Mavericks.
Excellent.
Yeah, we spend a lot of money.
With the cost, you know, and it's a very good question because over the last, well, ever since COVID, the cost of vehicles has just gone through the roof. Trying to find a good solution without spending a lot of money has been a big issue.
8 cup overs, man. 8 cup overs.
Yeah.
Monster, coffee, whatever.
As long as I got something for a couple cups of coffee, that's the most important thing I need. But very good question because it's ever changing. It's not like it used to be. And there's a lot of solutions out there when you're dealing with service trucks. I got one of the first deck drawer systems in my first 4-wheel drive pickup truck. Put that in the back, loved it. It's actually sitting now in my, 10 years later in my other 4-wheel drive pickup truck I got for service. They make those solutions for everything now. X1 makes some we use in the fire service. All aluminum welded systems, skid unit goes right in. There's a lot of solutions out there. You got to find what works best for you. And my recommendation is if you're going to put deck drawers in one pickup, let's put them in all so that everybody can kind of have a little setup.
Yeah, we put those decks in the Mavericks, and they're loving those. And they also put a fiberglass cap on it as well. Double stacking.
Most definite.
We've had service body pickups, and then of course we have a real big enclosed trailer that we'll take whenever we're moving a lot of equipment. But on a lot of the mobile type technicians, we'll get Denali's or Suburbans, the leathered out ones. And then,
I want to come work for you.
but it's because we get so many miles out of them. Like there's some that they're still running, and I kid you not, that has 400,000 miles on it. And of course we'll do a pack out system on the inside and then a rat pack underneath that. And so we try to keep it more uniform, so then if we do have to go service one vehicle, you can pull out all your crap, slide it into the next one. And then it also helps to train guys too, because they have one spot where they need to put something and they're not just throwing crap in a van or in the back of a truck bed.
Quick question. How many guys have remote techs that never go to the office? They're always remote from home. Okay, so there's a few of us. Most everybody else, your vehicles all come back to the shop at the end of the day? Or do they take them home?
Put 'em on the road, man, that's marketing.
Take them home?
Mobile billboard.
Okay. For us, majority of everybody takes their vehicles home because I live 2 hours from the office. We got guys that are living 8, 10 hours from the office. So not everything's gonna be as nice as what Cade's gonna have it down there with everything the same because everything's different, but yet find a good solution that works. Sounds like you guys have experimented around with a few different vehicles.
Yeah, we went from the old Chevy POS Sierra models into bad transmissions over and over again. E150, they've tried it, and the T250's 10 years strong, and they're doing really well.
Excellent.
How do you guys manage your inventory control of vehicles? Quarterly or annually?
For a while, we did it annually, but that's always just hard to keep up with because then you're breaking bits and buying glow rods, or guys are leaving stuff in attics or something.
Are you talking consumables or non-consumables? Both?
Annual, definitely an annual actual count out.
Using electronic tracking for ticket management and billing?
Oh yes.
Everything's all it's all through a server and cloud-based. Yeah, all of our stuff's all live online, so we can open calls, close calls, add parts.
QR codes where you can find it.
We don't use QR codes with it. We have the part numbers all listed in there that we can reference. But yeah, there's a lot of different systems out there, a lot of technology. Depends on what you want to go with.
Yeah, service trade is one of them. That's what my particular company uses, a service trade. We're able to collect work acknowledgement, have pictures of the job saved there. Every work order, you can document everything there, collect the customer signature, and close it out, and then it goes to billing and gets billed out from there. There's a handful of them out there, but that's the one I'm familiar with.
I like using D-Tools. D-Tools gives me a great solution from the design aspect all the way through the quoting, the estimating, the installation, and the service.
Go ahead.
I think our biggest challenge today is finding, especially for old timers like us, finding young people and who are interested in growing in this industry. Any thoughts on how you've seen that happen successfully in your companies?
Sometimes it's just finding someone who is in total awe of what you're doing, and then once they get involved, they just dive deep into it. I hate to say this, but kind of like what we probably were back when we were, wow. But then unfortunately in today's world, you also have those who just want a paycheck. They come in and they interview and they say, well, I'd like to get $37 an hour starting. And you got no experience in that. No, you should be able to teach me everything. That's not realistic. We get a lot of unrealistic questions. Fortunately, we don't have that much turnover. So usually when guys retire is when we're having to replace people.
Yeah, that's where we're at too. We keep people forever, which I love.
Yeah.
But being able to youth-in that workforce so that those ladders aren't as intimidating is tough today. We've even offered scholarships and had to local schools and had one person out of an entire school district apply.
When it comes to the security side of things with alarm, access, CCTV, I'm pretty much my attitude is, you give me a guy that has a good IT background and I can turn him into a great tech.
Yeah.
It's tough to take a tech that does not have an IT background and turn him into a great IT guy. Not that it can't happen. There's two different skill sets. And that's the biggest struggle, is turning people into an IT tech. I mean, who here doesn't, if you are installing stuff that does not require any knowledge at all of IT, raise your hand. Exactly. And so that's something that has to be looked at in the industry, is we need to focus, okay, this is what we want to look at. Instead of finding somebody who can just turn a wrench, let's find somebody that we can start here and train them where we need them to be.
And at times I would almost prefer having somebody as just a complete clean slate, because then they don't have the bad habits, they haven't been taught wrong on how to do something. It's just a clean slate right across the board. And then you can kind of build them up from there. But as long as they're hungry, like they want to work, they want to do good, like that means the world.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes, children of good technicians too.
Totally. I'm big on nepotism.
Go ahead.
Totally agree on the kids. One of my product superintendents, we hired 2 of his boys.
Oh,
They
really?
just turned out really well.
That's
I'm
great.
curious to know from like an apprentice standpoint, a new hire, what you guys feel like is an appropriate time span from onboarding and then having them kind of fully ramped and when you can kind of set them free. What does that really look like? 18, 24 months, 36 months?
Part of that depends on the spectrum that you're working in. For us, generally, we're going to hire somebody, we're going to start them here depending on whether we're hiring them for electronic security or physical security or drive-throughs. And we might start cross-training them if they have the aptitudes to take that, which we really hope. So it all depends on what you're dealing with. And yourself, Cade spoke earlier, hire somebody who doesn't know what a multimeter is. You may have a great background and know how to diagnose electronics and electrical. There's a good chance we're going to be able to put you out there on your own sooner than the others. But a lot of it comes down to, it's going to be a case-by-case scenario in all honesty. Can people retain knowledge? Retention is huge. If you can retain what you've been taught, then you can apply it later. If you can't, it's going to take more repetition to learn it.
A lot of times we'll have one of the lead techs or somebody in management roll around with the guy for a month or so, and just to kind of fill him out, see what he's about, see what he knows, and work alongside with him. And there's some guys that I'm not gonna lie, we have guys that have been there 2 years that we can't send them for one specific job because it's not in their wheelhouse. But then we have guys that they get trained up, and in a month or 2 you're sending them out running jobs. But I guess everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different.
You're not seeing anything different?
Helps to have it confirmed by
Yeah.
others.
You were hoping we could give you the secret answer.
All the answers, guys.
Yeah, everybody's different.
When I talked to Nikki and she says, well, you're an industry expert, I said, I'm not a has-been and I still learn something new every day. So, as I said earlier, if you think you know it all and there's nothing new to learn, it's time to get out of the industry because it changes so quick it isn't funny.
Yeah, don't believe it. Well, that's actually a great transition to kind of wrapping this up, guys. We're just about at time. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with everybody? Any closing thoughts?
Learn.
I love it.
Lean on the manufacturers, ask questions, learn as much as you can and grow with it.
Awesome. Well, great, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate you starting out your ISC West journey with us. And thank you to our panelists for sharing your insights.